What's up, YouTube friends? Jesse Vasquez here, AirVenture Hosting Company. Today we're going to talk about what I call the hybrid model. It's where we actually mix short-term rentals and mid-term rentals together, and we make sure that we have a profitable entire year. So we're going to deep dive into all that stuff, but if you guys do not like this page, please jump in the bottom and click on like. Don't do not like it, you actually got to like the page. And subscribe, because that keeps me wanting to make more of these videos, and I want to know if there's people who are actually looking to get into the travel medical world, or short-term rentals in general, or mid-term rentals. So please like and subscribe to this channel. At the very end of this episode, I'm going to talk to you guys about the model that I use and how I specifically go about doing that per month, per year, per whatever. So let's dive into this first. You guys all know what short-term rentals are, right? So short-term rentals are, you can book a property per night, you get paid per night, and that's booked out through the entire month, or days, or weekends, or whatever it is something that's great during peak periods of months. So like say in my market, or July, August, September, October, those are always really good months, the summer months basically. I can actually make more off a short-term rental than I can off a mid-term rental during those peak seasons. But we have what's considered slow season, and every single market, I don't care where you're at, you're going to have a little bit of a slow tick at some point. And one of the things that you want to learn about your market is if you go on airdna.com or you go to Mashvisor, you can actually look at how much money people are earning over the last year. It'll show you what the occupancy rates are in those markets. So you want to look and see what months are peak, which you would look at the number of how much they're actually earning per month on those properties. And then you want to go to the slow season and see what those slow seasons look like. And depending on if there's seasonality or there's winter or whatever it is, winter is coming, by the way.
Winter is coming.
You have to make sure that you know the numbers. So what I mean by that is I know that in my market, during, like I mentioned earlier, those peak summer months, I'm going to make 5 to 6K a month, maybe even more than that sometimes, on my 3-bedroom, 2-bath properties. During December, let's just say November, December, January, February, I won't make that at all. If I had that as a short-term rental, I would probably only make around $3,500, $4,000. This is gross profit per month, by the way. So what I do is I'll actually flip over into the midterm market at that point. So I will take, you know how just with anything with the stock market, you'll have a peak and you'll have a valley, which means your numbers are going to go up and down. And I think that's one of the things that scares people about short-term rentals. You don't have any positive cash flow or positive numbers that are running all the way across. It's always, you have one good month and it slows down, it picks up, and you don't want to get into the mindset of thinking that that's how you're going to be. You have to go in to look at the numbers first before you get into a market. So going back to what I was saying earlier. So I pivot customers. One of the old things that a lot of short-term rental operators will talk about, they'll tell you, find your niche, find your avatar, find this. I actually believe that to an extent, but I also believe that you should be able to pivot your market at any moment and be ready for that. In the winter months, what I actually do is I'll work on getting a travel medical professional in there to accommodate, let's just say November, December, January. So 3 months out of that year, I'll have a travel medical professional in a market where I know that I'm going to make 5 or 6K per month from having a travel medical professional in there, or a nurse, or 2 nurses that are coming to work on a place remotely. And then say I switch back over in February, then I can then go into a short-term rental that will accommodate X amount of money per month. And the reason why I talk about this model is because, again, you want to make sure that you're getting the most amount of revenue per month every single month throughout the entire year. And if you just keep your properties on short-term rentals on Airbnb, you're not able to capitalize on those markets the entire year. It's just not how it works. You know, unless you're in this high occupancy area, and you might have that potential or possibility. But for this sake and this purpose, and for me living in a rural market that I also host travel medical professionals, I like to combine those two together in what I call the hybrid model. And for me, it's been really fantastic working in the healthcare industry, being able to see how I go about, how these travelers are kind of maneuvering from one place to the other, but then also realizing I'm in a rural market as a short-term rental operator. There's not a lot of short-term rentals, and people do want to stay for a short amount of time sometimes, and capitalizing both on the short-term model and on the mid-term model. So again, 3 ways that I would suggest starting to do this or to get into this market or into this model and be able to pivot quickly. Number 1, you're going to want to make sure that you do your research on the actual market. And what I mean by that is pay for analytics through AirDNA for that specific city that will give you a market breakdown per month over the last year. Number 2, you got to make sure you're reaching out to these hospitals, corporate agencies that are working in that market, the companies that are connected to the hospitals, the travel medical agencies. You have to start building a relationship with those agencies, because then that gives you an outlet to be able to connect with them directly. And number 3, make sure you're on Furnish Finder. Furnish Finder is going to give you the options of being able to check to see what your market can do for travel medical professionals, but it's also going to give you the ability to reach out to connect with other clinicians that are coming into your market or that are reaching out to you for your property. So you have the Airbnb side, and then you have the midterm side. And if you cohesively mix those together, there is absolutely 100% no reason why you're going to have winter, per se. You're going to have a pretty sustainable amount of profits that are not going to have peaks, that are not going to have valleys. You're going to stay pretty even through the entire year. That's been a model that I've been working with for quite some time now. It's helped me build my little empire when it comes to the short-term rentals and also managing other people's properties in my market. So I highly suggest that you start thinking about these things before you get into it. And also it's a way to pivot out. We need to have exit strategies for whatever reason. That if the short-term rental model is not working, you have the ability to pivot into the midterm market. And if your midterm market's not working, you have the ability to pivot into a short-term rental market. So I hope you found this valuable. I hope this is some information that you can utilize and think about as you're building your systems and your company and your markets. That research needs to be put in place in order to make this happen. So please like and subscribe this. And if you have any questions whatsoever on the midterm rental market, put them in the comments down below so that I can make some videos that are based around these specific subjects. So I'm glad you guys tuned in. Please like and subscribe, and I'll have some more coming for you. Thank you.